Hello, students. Bear with me a little bit. My voice is kind of in and out, so I'm going to try to make this a little bit of a shorter lecture here today. But I do want to cover a few points related to Murray, and then I do have a little short video clip that I want you to see of Murray speaking for a Cato engagement that he was asked to speak. And we're going to specifically look at his views on the BA degree, the 4-year BA degree. So before we do that, I just wanted to recap here for work that is due before Wednesday's class, which, by the way, we are not going to be meeting again in person this week because of my quarantine status. So we will be meeting the following week, though, in person again. As long as I'm still able to be on the upside of getting well here and overcoming this sickness. So just again to recap here, there are a few things here at the top of this for in-class work. I'm just on the main modules page here, the home page, the for in-class work. You have the video that I posted last week on summarizing and quoting, that kind of overview. There are some lecture points in here on chapters 2 and 3. And then the discussion that was in lieu of class last week. Remember, for this coming week, you'll be looking for a couple of discussions appearing down here, which is, by the way, this video I'm recording now will appear in here as well, but also send it out as an email YouTube link before I post it on this in this area in the site. So what I want to kind of talk about for a little bit is Charles Murray's work, and I really wanted to just kind of focus on, trying to get at an overview of what it is that Charles Murray is trying to tell us about whether or not are too many people going to college. So basically in this piece that he wrote, he is arguing that yes, too many people are going to college. Although he thinks that a liberal arts background is important for cultural literacy, he says that this education should instead happen at the elementary and high school levels. Now, I just want to pause there for a second, because I think this is really important for us to begin to think about then, what is the liberal arts education background? Well, according to Murray, he believes that it involves things like knowing history, science, great works of art, music, and literature. Okay? He also believes that to live in the United States and not recognize historical events and people like Teddy Roosevelt, Prohibition, and the Minutemen, or Wall Street, or the Battle of Gettysburg, is not appropriate for being an American citizen. In other words, we should all know that stuff, but he's claiming that we shouldn't wait until college to learn about these things. I'm trying to just get at what Murray is meaning about this, because as we know, what the real argument here is that, first of all, he's not against post-secondary education. He's very much in favor of it. What he's arguing against is the Bachelor's of Arts degree, the BA, or even the BS in many cases, but a bachelor's degree where, as we know, a main part and component of the bachelor's degree is general education in the curriculum. Okay? But my question is, as I start reading through this, is that all general education is? Is it simply learning about historical events and learning about works of art and literature and science and religion and other liberal arts endeavors? Is that simply all it is, or is the purpose of general education in the curriculum something more? Okay, I suggest that it is something more. Okay? And what I suggest that it is, just briefly, and I'll post some information about this in the course as well, that general education is to help us kind of develop a little bit more of a diverse skill set, to help us to become lifelong learners, to help us think critically, and to help us become knowledgeable citizens and be able to communicate ideas with our neighbors, with our coworkers, in order to improve our relationships, improve our business dealings, improve our neighborliness, and improve our overall communities. Okay? And this is true regardless of the course of study, whether I'm going to be a teacher, whether I'm going to be a nurse, whether I'm going to be a a scientist or a police officer or whatever. Having these kind of basic skill sets that are kind of fundamental to the general education courses and the reason that they exist are essential. Okay? Communicating, critically thinking, becoming knowledgeable citizens beyond kind of that rote learning of memorization that we often get in elementary and middle school, that we understand historical events in context of timelines and in context of people that were involved. But is there something more than that? In terms of being able, the process of learning, the process of being able to dive deeper into these issues that existed then, to be able to critically think about them, to analyze them, to synthesize, and to then apply knowledge that we learn to something practical in our lives right now. Okay, so jump back here. Okay, so essentially, Murray, again, believes that the general education, that liberal arts kind of background stuff should be something that can be learned in elementary, middle school, high school, up through our K through 12 years. And that's his argument here. And that then when we get to the BA, well, what should happen then? Well, if he's saying that those things should be learned in the K through 12 years, then they would be eliminated from the curriculum at the college level. Okay, and definitely there are arguments on both sides of this, no question about it. So I want you to just think about that. I gave that as a background just to think about. Do you believe that the liberal arts education should be completely in the K through 12 curriculum and there shouldn't be any more beyond that? In other words, is there no purpose for the general education or liberal arts curriculum beyond high school? Okay. So in his view, Murray's view, a liberal arts degree is not the best option for most high school seniors. Only those, he says, with the strongest academic abilities will enjoy the hard work required for such a degree, while others would benefit more from vocational training. Okay? Murray argues that there are a number of career choices requiring vocational training with high salaries, no doubt. I have many friends who have vocational jobs with high salaries that require little post-secondary education and on-the-job training. And he gives an extended hypothetical example of a student who would make a better living as a good electrician than as a mediocre business manager. Okay? No doubt there is some truth to that. In addition, the physical campus setting of a college is less relevant when the internet makes library databases and distance learning possible. He kind of concludes then that the BA serves as a class distinction in a class-driven country, and he argues that businesses really shouldn't use it as a benchmark for hiring. So here I just want to jump to this video and play this for a few minutes, jumping right into where he's picking up talking about the BA.
Too many people are going to college, and the future of the nation depends on how we educate the academically gifted. I am not against post-secondary education. On the contrary, I think just about everybody needs post-secondary education. The idea that it needs to consist of 4 years of residence at a brick-and-mortar institution seems to me to be foolish on a number of levels. My gripe is not with a college education, my gripe is with the piece of paper called a BA and the role that this has taken on in American life. Let us count the ways. First, 4 years. Very few vocational specialties require 4 years of coursework, and that includes brain surgery. That includes being an attorney. To become competent in any profession requires more than 4 years, or often requires more than 4 years, but it's not coursework that's doing it. And an awful lot of kids want out of college to learn how to make a living at something they have an interest in. We will come back to the issue of the liberal education in a moment, but I want simply to put that out front. You have a whole lot of 18-year-olds who are very reasonably concerned about making a living that is a good living, and reasonably want to find out how to do something that they enjoy, and that the idea that they must acquire the BA in the process of doing this is wrong. It's fine for the upper middle class, people who have enough money and time to do this. Lots of kids don't. Let me also add into this indictment another problem. Because we have made the BA the emblem of educational success in this country, we automatically are saying that most young people cannot achieve this desired goal. And this gets to the issue of the intellectual demands of genuine college-level material. Now we've got two separate issues we've got going on here. We've got young people who can handle the demands of college-level material, but shouldn't be required to spend 4 years at a residential college to do it. We also have the large number who can't handle traditional college-level material, and let me be more explicit about that. The College Board did a study recently in which it tried to estimate what SAT score is associated with college readiness. And they defined college readiness as a 2.7 grade average during the freshman year. They had a sample of 41 colleges in their study, which ranged from solid state universities, but not spectacular ones, up through the most elite colleges. So we are talking about colleges that are the real thing in terms of today's universities. And the requirement of the benchmark SAT score that's associated with the 65% probability of having a 2.7 grade average, this is not a very severe requirement. The SAT score required for that was one that only about 10% of 18-year-olds would get if all 18-year-olds took the SAT. 10%. Now, since you've got 28% of all adults who have BAs, obviously you can get through to a BA without being in that top 10%, but that is the threshold for dealing with that material. In the book, I try to make that point for readers who I think may have forgotten what a real college is like. And I do that by putting down paragraphs from page 400, I just chose that page arbitrarily, of a number of standard textbooks. And just putting them there on the book sort of lets you know what? You have to have really good verbal skills to be able to comprehend the texts that you have to read to do a real college education. So you have a whole lot of people who are told from birth that you aren't a success in life unless you get a BA, and there is no way on God's green earth that a whole lot of those kids can get a genuine BA in a genuine subject at a genuine university. And so you have all kinds of changes in the way we define an undergraduate education to try to get around that, to expand the pool of people who get it. And we go through all of these hoops that are not necessary in order for these kids to learn what they want to learn to get an education.
Okay, I am going to stop that there. I do want to just remind you that writing assignment 1 is coming up due. I did extend the due date on this, you'll see, to February 24th. And if you click on this, you'll be able to see that the writing assignment is submitted through Turnitin, and because I'm not a student, your screen will look different than this. But this is the prompt for it up here. So read through this. you're gonna respond to number 2 on page 364 in the textbook. Um, but I'm gonna post another video kind of going over this a little bit more and talking a little bit about your major writing style as well. But that is it for now. Thanks for listening and have a great week. I'll talk to you soon.